I like seeing the changes that we make out in the field and seeing how much it benefits the environment and things around. When you can see that you can start cutting back fertilizer applications and passes across the fields, we're using less fuel, we're disturbing the ground less. When you see that, it really encourages what we're doing, and it shows that we're doing it to better things and make it better.
I like to fish. You know, we like to see salmon in the Pigeon River. We like to catch suckers in the Pigeon River. All that is important to us, so we're doing everything we can to hold back the sediment and the nutrients and the herbicides and keep everything on the field and not in the waterways.
By planting cover crops, the environmental impact that I've seen is less erosion, and they're improving the organic matter and just the overall soil health.
I don't want to be doing practices where the next generation questions what I'm doing. I want to stay ahead of the game and trying to be a good steward of the land and keep the soil there for the next generation and helping out with the farm that way.
There are a lot of people that are out there to help you get started. People from our soil and water department, from our agronomist, from NRCS. It's a lot of people working together, and they all try to get the word out.
Wisconsin's water resources, including the Great Lakes, like Lake Michigan behind me, are the lifelines of our ecosystems and economies. Protecting these resources is a responsibility we all share. However, traditional farming methods, while productive, can inadvertently contribute to water pollution through runoff and non-point source pollution, including phosphorus and sediment. This is where Between the Lakes Demonstration Farm Network is making a difference. The network consists of conservation-minded farmers who are pioneering new farming approaches. They test and demonstrate soil health practices like no-till farming, cover crops, and low-disturbance manure applications. These practices have proven effective with the right management and timeframes. The Between the Lakes Demonstration Farm Network spans across Manitowoc, Sheboygan, Calumet, and Fond du Lac counties, covering the Manitowoc and Sheboygan River basins. This network extends from Kewaunee in the north to Port Washington in the south and west to nearby Lake Winnebago. In essence, these demonstration farm networks are not just about showcasing best practices, they're about collaboration, innovation, and shared commitment to protecting our vital water resources.
The NRCS, the Natural Resources Conservation Service, is invested heavily in the demonstration farm networks. We utilize EPA funds that are allocated through the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative, or GLRI, to continue to promote conservation on the landscape and better promote adoption of conservation practices amongst farmers.
One soil health practice I've adapted since joining is the addition of cover crops. Just making no-till work in this part of Sheboygan County is kind of innovative. When I started doing it, there weren't many people doing it. We got into it mainly because we had a lot of highly erodible land. And then after a few years, we realized those fields were performing better than they had been. So we slowly converted everything else towards no-till.
We were always doing no-till, but we added in doing cover crops after soybeans and corn silage and grain corn. Since we started doing cover crops, we've noticed that we can usually get in the fields a little bit quicker after these rains, and if it is a little damp out, we're carrying a lot better. We're seeing less compaction issues. I will say we've also noticed our weed pressure has gotten a lot better since we've adopted more cover crops. It seems like we can get away with kind of stretching out herbicide passes a little bit longer, or cutting back on some of our herbicide usage, and we're still getting the same weed control that we were without cover crops.
The biggest thing I've seen from this practice is soil erosion. When water runs off, when you have that big rain or you have a big snow melt, you don't have near the soil loss that we've had before.
We installed a Rain 360, so we're able to apply manure, leachate, water, anything like that needed during the summer months with a growing crop. We're also doing all minimum till manure applications in fall on our corn silage ground and cover crop ground after silage harvest. Trying to do more and more cover crops, seeing a big benefit for soil structure and water infiltration and just keeping the land covered and keeping the water clean with all the area lakes and rivers.
The soil health practice I've adopted since joining the network would be interseeding into corn and soybeans and try to have cover crops on 100% of my acres. The DOT has put a wetland in for the highway project, and then I put a native prairie and pollinator strip next to that. The pollinator strip will catch any nutrients from runoff, and it also provides habitat for the bees and butterflies and wildlife that are beneficial to the pollinator insects.
This large photo here is of an established interseeding, and the white diamonds are where the seed was spread from the drone. So this was taken on June 11th when the seeding happened.
With the Between the Lakes Demonstration Farm Network, we rely heavily on farmers' ability to teach farmers. We host field days, we have outreach events, we utilize demonstrations on the farm to further educate farmers. We include a lot of agency, a lot of private agronomists within field days and outreach events within the network itself.
I'd like to have these farmer-to-farmer meetings that we're having here that really helps share information, different practices that someone's doing on their land that we can implement here. Something that we're doing here might not work in other areas. So it's just bouncing ideas off of different farmers and these farmer-to-farmer events that everybody has a benefit from that.
I like to try and keep as much data as I can on everything so we can show exactly what we're spending on things, what we're benefiting. On these field days, I like to show as much of that as I can.
Start small, try it on one field, and learn from it. Find out, from other people what's been working very well, and most farms have the machinery ready and the stuff available to do these practices.
The way I would suggest other people, if they were thinking of adapting to no-till, that first year don't compare your results to what you hear other people getting in the neighborhood, because you don't know their whole situation, you don't know their fertility, wet bushels or dry bushels. So compare your results to your conventional results. Usually people are willing to help if you need help.
Farmers are joining forces to combine traditional and innovative farming methods to enhance our land and water resources. A special thanks to the Between the Lakes Farms and all farmers practicing conservation. With support from public and private project partners, the network will continue to demonstrate agriculture's positive environmental impact. As a community, it is up to all of us to work together to keep these resources usable and plentiful for future generations. To learn more, please visit the Between the Lakes Demonstration Farm Network website or Facebook page to discover upcoming events and how you can join the conservation movement.